Thank you. Wow, this is amazing. This is a dream come true for me. I mean, especially me, because I don't even look like I'm going to be funny, you know? It's my face. It's like a little TED Talky. Like it looks like I'm about to use the phrase renewable energy. I know that. It's a hurdle. A lot of people have kids because they're like, well, if you don't, who's going to take care of you when you're old? But there's no guarantee your kids are going to take care of you, you know? Take my parents' kid, for example. I'd be more apt to have kids that they would take care of me now. You know, like I would adopt someone if they're old enough to drive. Then my friends would call me up and be like, today, little Emma took her first steps. I'd be like, oh, really? Wow. Ron just dropped me off at the airport. Yeah. I love my nephew so much, he makes me hesitant to have kids because I'm afraid I might have kids and then they don't measure up to him, you know? I told my girlfriend that, she goes, that's ridiculous. She goes, that's like never getting married because you're afraid you're going to meet someone better. And I'm like, yeah. I'm dyslexic, that's tough, man, because you don't see it coming. You know, I just arrived in the first grade. You have no idea. I arrived in the first grade, everyone started reading. I was like, meh, I'm going to stare out the window for a decade. But you guys, you do your thing. I found out I wasn't going to learn how to read at 6. That's young to get bad news about the future. That's like pulling a kid aside and being like, hey, there's a good chance you're going to be a degenerate gambler. He's like, what are the odds? Third grade was tough because the teacher was old and she learned to teach before dyslexia was invented. So she didn't think it was a thing. She thought it was something people made up to get attention. Like a gluten allergy. She'd make like the whole class read and then it would be my turn. I'd be like, yeah, I can't read. It's the same situation as yesterday. She'd be like, sound it out. I'd be like, nice try, that's reading. That is so insensitive, man. Tell a dyslexic child to sound it out. That'd be like if someone pulled you aside and said, hey, I can't eat this. I'm deathly allergic to peanuts. And you're like, chew slowly. They put me in special ed. I was in special ed. My mom did all my homework, all my projects. They still put me there. It's true. My mom would always say to me, she'd say, you know, there's nothing to be ashamed about being in special ed. And I'm glad she felt that way, because technically, she was in it too. I am so close to my mom. My mom had surgery last year. I went to the hospital. I was so upset and nervous. I immediately fainted. As I came to, the doctor was panicking and said to my dad, does he have any medical conditions we need to know about? My dad said, he has OCD. It's not pertinent to the situation at all. He just started talking smack. The doctor's like, seriously, is there anything we need to know? My dad's like, he owes us $5,000. Yeah. I have a new girlfriend. She's Indian, and sometimes they'll tell people that, and they're like, Native American or from India. And I'm like, first off, rude. Secondly, I will look into that. She has an emotional support dog, which I have no experience with. So the first time she cried in front of me, I just kind of innocently looked at the dog. I was like, do you got this? I have no experience with pets at all. When I was a kid, I would ask for a pet, and my parents would say, well, what will we do when we travel? Then we never went anywhere. My friend was like, weren't you lonely without a dog? I was like, no, I was busy preparing for this voyage the whole time. Last time I was home, just out of the blue, my mom goes, we should have gotten you a dog. That always hurts, right? You're hanging out with your parents, they start brainstorming ways you could have been a better person. Same trip, out of nowhere, my mom goes, when we get old, I hope you don't put us in a home. And I was like, well, what will I do when I travel? Thank you guys so much.
Visit PhilHanley.com on and on and on. I said, and it's on and on and on.